So I posted a video about this CIA, kind of seems to be a CIA operation with Aspen and Todge back in, starting roughly around 2021, in around even before, January the 6th, and his connections working at Aspen or being around Aspen. And that was a day ago I did that video. I was told and informed that the Royal Grift has done work on this as well previously. So, and I know that these investigations in America, just from my research, they have been doing this stuff and debunking these things for a long time. I'm guessing because of Twitter files. That's not exactly yesterday. And I just find this amazing that after my video, and I'm not trying to big note myself, it's just very coincidental. This woman hasn't popped up from what I know, for ages. And she does a interview with AFP. AFP is very interesting. Has connections with the royal family. She does a chat hours after, saying that she's been the victim of an incredible witch hunt. Invisible rulers. Yes, she's trying to play a victim here of her own reality. And I just want to point this out, it's just incredible. It's just incredible. I'm such a small account. It may not be anything to do with me, but I just find it really, really odd that it's now of all times. Now, she pretty much says, I don't know if it's here, but she said she's a CIA intern and she did an internship there, and people are pretty much connecting her internship with her being CIA. And she's trying to go down that route, that she's just a victim of course, disinformation, which is the topic of what she loves to talk about. But that isn't necessarily true, and I'm going to explain this to you. I think a good place to start is to show you how many times she's been connected to Aspen just in Twitter posts alone. So let's go through it. So 2020, you'll see a lot of these posts of her having chats about this one Teams chat or whatever you want to say it is. Aspen Security 2020. There you go. There's more on that. This is the same one. Aspen Security Forum 2020. More. How to get citizens engaged and protect the open internet. No Upside is her handle. So she, in 2014, was a part or participating in Aspen Digital, the forum. Now that is, I can't remember what it's called. Let me just figure this out here. Focus is a conference. I'm just looking it up on. Yes, the 2014 Forum on Communications and Society by Aspen Institute in Colorado. And it was in August for 3 days. So she started connections all the way back with Aspen Digital in 2014, or Aspen Institute. I find that very interesting, and we'll get to that in a minute. So 2018, you see her there. Aspen Security Forum 2020, same one. New Aspen Ideas Festival 2018. There she is. Now I'll get to this part, which I find very, very interesting. Renee DiResta still sits, this is in 2022, Renee DiResta still sits on the editorial board of Kennedy School Misinformation Review, in which Aspen Institute's Commission on Information Disorder member, Sophia Noble, was once a member. Sophia joined back in 2021, during which their members and tech advisors were selected. I find that very interesting. Research Manager, Stanford Observatory, selected to Aspen Institute's Commission on Information Disorder. This is really interesting because, do you remember Sophia Noble? She was the one that Nut regarded a really amazing woman because she did some book through Netflix. Let me go back to this. You'll see her here. See, Algorithms of Oppression. Yeah, oppression, okay. And she's connected to NAACP. Remember, NAACP was connected to that Stop Hate campaign. That was a partner. It's just so interesting. So there's Aspen, NAACP, which are interchanging with this one woman, Sophia Noble. Archwell Digital Civil Rights Award she won, supposedly.
You can destroy people who are symbols of social justice. Then you can scare people to not want to be public. It is a way to signal to the rest of us to stand down. If you can.
Do you see how this is still all connected to policy change? Like, because it's so shallow and disingenuous that this whole narrative played out in Netflix with that stupid mockumentary by Liz Garbage. Do you see how this is all connected? So anyway, I'm going to go scroll down. Oh, did I click on something? No. So we've got here 2022. Oh no, sorry, that's going back. So Aspen Ideas and Renee DiResta, that was in 2016. How to stop fake news on social media. Oh, sorry, 2018, I apologize. June 25th. And these are all through Aspen Institute, her little articles or blogs that she's done. 2022, 2020. I'm not sure which is how old the last one is, the Menace of Disinformation. A good way to start going down this rabbit hole of to prove that Renee her background is questionable, is to look at her background as that's online. And when you scroll down, she's been a founder of many things, many little ideas or concepts. But this is where it gets interesting. If you remember that Aspen forum or conference that she was a part of in 2014, she was not yet anything big in 2014. So she was a trader in Wall Street up until 2011, supposedly. And then she became a part of O'Reilly's OATV. I know it's O'Reilly's something Technology Ventures. O'Reilly's Technology Ventures. But then from 2014 to 2017, She was a VP of business development at Haven. Now I want to scroll down to this article in 2017 about DiResta and her participation, or her, I don't know, her work with Congress. Because there's something interesting that she says. She supposedly became immersed in disinformation campaigns in her spare time outside of her job as a founder and head of marketing at Haven. She was a founder of Haven. Haven is a supply and logistics company, or software company. I'm sure it was to do with technology, but it's to do with logistics. But she's a founder. So while she's a founder, and they raised funding, by the way, of 11 million in 2016. So this is literally when they founded it in 2014. And late 2014, she founded it. That she was inspired by, became immersed in disinformation campaigns. And it was to do something about her child being born and vaccines, which is, at that time, very interesting, very, very interesting. It may have been 2014 that she became immersed, but at the same time, her first forum at Aspen Institute was in 2014 in August. Actually, that was before she even started or founded Haven. So she's lied. She was already doing stuff at Aspen. And then why, if you're a founder and you're you would be full-time into this. So she was already working for O'Reilly's. Let's have a look here. O'Reilly Alpha Tech venture capital firm. She was already working for them before she left to found this Haven. So she was working for them while she was at Aspen Institute doing a forum on information or communications. So that's what I don't get, is she's in between these two companies and founding an organization, and she's already starting at Aspen Institute. I find that interesting. If you recall the career list of DiResta earlier that I put up, but it says that basically from 2011 until the present day today, she is working for O'Reilly Alpha Ventures Capital Ventures, or whatever, OATV. But by January the 2nd, 2015, she puts up a post that she's left OATV to found Haven, pretty much. So I just want to put this up here so you can see. Now, you can't get the full article, but that's basically what she's saying. She's left corporate venturing unit O'Reilly Alpha Tech to take up a position at Startup Haven, and will continue to invest as an angel investor. So January the 2nd, 2015 is when Renee leaves OATV. But in August 2014, she is already hanging out at the Aspen Institute discussing the future of open internet at the 2014 Forum on Communications and Society. And the topics are, what is the system we have now? How open is it really? How can regulation of the internet and its pipes help or hurt its potential? She's already having these kinds of discussions very early on, before she was being immersed in misinformation, while she was a leading founder and leading business development for her own startup, which would take up all of her time. So interesting. Here's the picture. You can see her there. So here is Renee in November 2015 discussing how Haven came to be.
Hi everybody, it's great to be here. I'm actually from New York. I moved to San Francisco about 4 years ago, and when I left here, there actually really wasn't much of a hardware ecosystem at all. So it's really encouraging to see this. I was on Wall Street, I was a trader for a long time, and then I went to O'Reilly, as Matt mentioned, and became a VC, and I worked at O'Reilly Alpha Tech Ventures, and I focused quite a bit on hardware. And on growing the hardware ecosystem. Nick Pinkston, I don't know, do any of you guys know Nick Pinkston? Plethora. Yeah, I'd like the notes up there if I can, just because I literally just got off the plane, sat in traffic, and just got here.
Welcome back.
So, thank you. So Nick and I met, and we said, hey, it'd be great to kind of start up a hardware ecosystem. He's the founder of this company called Plethora, which is a factory of the future. So I did quite a lot with manufacturing, future manufacturing. And then I left O'Reilly in November to help start a company alongside two really great founders. The company's name is Haven, and we do supply chain. So what I'm going to talk about now is basically import-export and...
So I'm not sure here if she's talking about that November. It sounds like it, but that's November of 2015, which wouldn't make much sense. So, but then again, neither does that add up to her leaving by January the 2nd in 2015. So perhaps possibly by November 2014, she left OATV to then commence her job as a founder at Haven. But then that doesn't align with everything she's told us either at all. The last thing I would like to show you is the forum or the conference that she was a part of in 2014, the report for that. It's called Strengthening a Free and Open Internet in a Changing and Complex World, a report of the 2014 Aspen Institute Forum on Communications and Society. So they're literally correlating internet communications and society and policy change around that and regulations. The tension between markets and government, the regulation question in practice, US net neutrality debate. So Renee was already discussing while she was the president of O'Reilly's. She was discussing regulations regarding communications and how it affects society. So nothing to do with starting at Haven and being first immersed in misinformation and disinformation, which this term I think wasn't around but at that point. in 2014, her becoming immersed by vaccines and her child as a civilian. So I might, yeah, okay, so we're just here. So internet policy, this is all about internet policy. Open internet policies. What principles should regulators employ in considering communications regulation going forward? We hope with this report to start that broader debate, knowing that the rules will need refinement, that issues will arise, and that the surrounding milieu will change. The stakes are high. Openness, free expression, and the innovation necessary for economic viability and growth among them. The tensions are ever present. The tension of liberty and security faced by all governments and societies is baked into the internet's challenges, and it's against this fast-changing context that the attendees at Focus 2014 convened. This report features the discussions, questions, and ideas for strengthening the way internet works today from notable internet entrepreneurs, creators, communicators, and regulators, convened by the Aspen Institute and supported by the Knight Foundation, August 10th to 13th, 2014, in Aspen, Colorado. The group explored the competing values of security, innovation, openness, and privacy, and other tensions. The meeting aimed to better understand and devise a most ideal road ahead for a freest possible and most open internet, and establish guiding policy principles to ensure the internet's role as a means to free expression, consumer choice, and a secure and vibrant economy. Yeah, but this is a witch hunt against her. Now let me show you. I will type Renee. This is forum participants. Renee DiResta, Principal, O'Reilly Alpha Tech Ventures. Since 2014, in August, she's been involved in Aspen Institute to a degree, and before Haven, before that storyline. This goes against her complete resume. Now, after all of that, just a bit of research on the side there regarding Renee DiResta, I'm finishing up with that, to be honest, because it's, I don't know, it's not going to go anywhere. But I'm trying to prove the point that, well, there's a connection there with Todge and herself. That's already been established. But what that opens up to then is IPP and Todge's situation. Now, on the royal website, the terminology of stepping down doesn't mean that he's a non-working royal. That has not really been established from what I've seen on the website. And surely if Todge is leaking such political information and wanting to change policy in the US, then he has IPP status. And by literally just common sense, he's a son of a king. He's a fifth in line to the throne. They would want nothing to jeopardize that. Him relocating to change policy right on time, and him, if he's moved, that is, over there, him risking his life and safety as a fifth in line to the British monarchy, there is no way he wouldn't have IPP. There is no way. Absolutely no way. And before that, like at that time, obviously still being grandson to the Queen, but, still fifth in line. There's no way. So if we go with that and we would go with IPP, I think there's some questions to ask and to have an open discussion together about what this means and the implications. So there's a woman on an account on Twitter called, I hope I pronounced it right, I'm not that French, Jeanne Desausses. I just sound like an absolute wanker. And she's had some really good points to make, and I just want to go through them with you, so we can have this discussion together, and for you to even ask yourselves these questions. And I have permission from her, so I hope you can enjoy her work. If you like to follow her handle's right there. So she's made some points, and I'm going to go through them with you. I'm not going to verbally just bring them up. Prince Harry has an A1 visa. This visa is a head of state visa only afforded to working royals and ambassadors, the job being representing the monarchy for diplomatic affairs. If Todge has an A1, IPP status is a given, usually. This needs to be addressed. Forget about the UK court case that may well be a psyop to confuse the public. And I just want to insert in here that I do not believe any of these court cases that have happened, that have occurred, were actually real. I think they were kangaroo mock court cases, as much as the mockumentary was, to prove that he didn't have IPP, and that he was just, an everyday guy, not never walking street pathways like everyday people. So the reason why I bring it up is because it's not even if, you can tell from his information leakages and his little spills that he's got insider information and that he's trying to change US policy. So that's what you consider collusion. So if he's saying here, he did what members of the royal family are supposed to never do and directly criticise the ruling party, accusing it of collusion. So he accused the British government and the parliament in the court case, if you remember, of collusion. Now, if this was a real court case, they would have evidence to strongly argue against that, the fact that Todge himself is a part of collusion in Australia. That's already a given. I've proven that with facts, and in America. But because this is a cover, they haven't provided that evidence, and they haven't used it as a counterclaim and argument. So for me already, this looks to me, my opinion, looks to me like this has been a complete and utter fraudulent little theatrics court case, as have all of them been, while he's been supposedly living in America. Return to Jian's post. The A1 visa is a visa that must be renewed on an annual basis. The late Queen gave him a year to decide in 2020. So who has been renewing this visa every year since 2021? A UK MP has this power to be a sponsor. Who is it? Impossible the King isn't informed on this, or maybe the one who ordered Harry's A1 visa renewal, which is, if you go back to the video on the Councils of State and that bill being passed, it was introduced, the new bill change was introduced, or the new bill was introduced within a day of the King's request in Parliament. So, yeah. Okay, let's continue. The US taxpayers have been paying for Harry and his wife's security. It's done on the DL, on the down low, approved by the Biden administration, or your uni party, whichever you would like to say. Harry was also seen in Colombia with Royal Protection Officers, RPOs, many of which are recognisable, at least 5 of them. One being Dave Langdown, which has been his security since that time in Las Vegas, or earlier. That looks like he has IPP status, doesn't it? Which I've already discussed also in my videos, so I fully support that. The Colombian VP tried to deflect from criticism for the astronomical cost of the trip by saying the funds came from international agencies. Where's the report? Where's the report? Let's see which international agencies they are. That's just a roundabout way of saying public funds. Why is the origin of the funds a secret? Where did the funds come from? If even £1 or $1 US of those funds came from the US or UK governments via loans or government grants and were used to pay for 2 private citizens who may in fact be government agents for the US or UK, we have a big problem. Harry's visa status remains hidden. Why? Stigma, my ass. Archwell is still financially delinquent and 2 years behind on tax returns. Why? Markle's biz ventures deliberately massive fails. I don't care how stupid she is. It feels off. It does feel off. It does feel very, very off. Why is the COS, Council of State position, change, news, working royals only, being recycled and force-fed to us like it's good news? I see it as manipulative. For all we know, Harry is still a working royal, and nothing has changed on that website. There's no new information. So what you're getting is complete and utter mis- and disinformation from the media. Have you realised how things are going right now in the media and what you're being fed on social media and possibly YouTube? I don't follow those things, so I don't know. But I have been spotting some articles that have been coming out and the people that spew all of this up like it's real to convince you. The doubt and non-transparency regarding his diplomatic status as a representative of the Crown or a private citizen has never been addressed or clarified by any UK government official. Why is that? Neither the US State Department or the UK Foreign Office have addressed this. Why? Given Harry's interference in the last 2020 US elections and his deliberate disregard for the US Constitution and openly declaring the First Amendment as bonkers is very suspicious and a red flag in my opinion. Why is Todge and Nutt simultaneously receiving US government grants and using his own money, Crown money, through Archwell, financing projects, NGOs and NPOs tasked to push the censorship agenda in the US? Why was he a commissioner at the Aspen Institute actively censoring millions of Americans? And what seems to be globally, for all we know. Why was he allowed to send direct requests to social media companies to censor or shut down accounts he personally didn't like? Why was he privy to US government high clearance level intelligence? How did he know about J6 before it happened? There is something that the King, the UK Foreign Office and the US State Department and the Biden administration are hiding about Harry's actual status, and it reeks. Quite frankly, I don't understand how more people do not see this as unacceptable and outrageous. The mainstream media is completely blinding people from what is clearly evident in front of our eyes. And she's even tagged the US State Department, the UK Foreign, whatever that is, UK Home Office, UK Home Secretary, the President of the United States of America, and US Congress, I don't know the other one. And she's tagged other accounts here. Questions that need answers, don't you think? I said, I would love for you to share your own thoughts in the comments below. And if not, just ask yourself these questions that need answers. At this point, I'm seeing a massive shift in the narrative. And I don't know if you've picked up on it. The fact that World Central Kitchen Jose and Andres is also working now for Earthshot, but also working for Harry, for Todge, and for William. You think there's two sides. You still want to believe that. What I'm finding interesting now publicly is the fact that there's no more Todge is an idiot. Todge is just, being rebellious and doing what he wants in the US. And I'm seeing that with this article and with this announcement with the Clinton Global Initiative annual meeting. This is as credible as Earthshot itself with William. And it's as the way it's taken very seriously and matter of fact tells us the narrative has shifted. Alongside the narrative that's playing out in the UK about forgiveness and mercy and justice by having Todge come back to into the fold with the royal family by none other than Lord Rees-Mogg, which I've done videos on his father and his position leading the Privy Council, the King's Privy Council. But this is just very, very telling of what's about to play out. But there's been a shift in Todge's credibility and how he's now being perceived. And it's almost like nothing is covert anymore because things have been exposed. That's how I see it. That they know the game's up. And so they're just going to play out full credibility to Todge now and have an equal position in the US as William has had regarding Earthshot, regarding many events. But he is to be taken seriously now. Do you see how all of a sudden, with permission, though this would be permission with the Royal Palace Communications and their whole strategy, do you see how it's all under their control? Don't you find it interesting? Thank you so much for your time.